Hello guys and welcome back. So in today's video, we are going to be going over 5 really common mistakes that I hear among my clients, even my most advanced clients. So those who are really looking to sound like a native English speaker. So if this is a topic that you're interested in, then please stay tuned. So to my subscribers, welcome back you guys, and if you are new here, welcome. My name is Victoria, and I post for those of you who are looking to master the American accent and sound just like a native speaker. So if that's you, then please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and YouTube will let you know once I've posted a new video. All right, you guys, so the first common mistake that I hear, even with my really advanced clients, is over nasalization of the I sound. So you'll remember that I is a lax vowel, and it's actually really high frequency in English, meaning I is all over the place. For example, words like if or hit or interesting, all of those have that I sound. So what I often hear, even for those folks who really have I down in most contexts, I hear it being nasalized when it is being followed by a nasal consonant. So there's 3 nasal consonants in English. There's n. And so literally, I won't say all the time, but a grand majority of the time, even if I have someone who's truly mastered I in words like hit or if, once they come to a word like internet or important or ring, any word that's followed by a nasal, they're saying important, ring, interesting. So really, really watch out for that. It's easier said than done, this one, since controlling nasality, we really need the back of our tongue, which is harder to control. But really think of it as 2 totally distinct entities, the I and then the nasal. They just happen to be neighbors, but the nasal shouldn't be influencing your I sound at all. All right, so our second most common problem is lack of enough word stress. So a lot of my clients come from languages in which this huge stress requirement on one of the syllables isn't a requirement in their native language. So even if they think they're stressing the primary syllable enough, oftentimes they're not. So then what happens is that the perceived stress tends to fall on one of the tense vowels in that word if one happens to exist. So if we look at the word, for example, interviewing, what is the strongest syllable in that word? So it's the first, right? It's a lax I, that's the winner. But because many of my clients don't put enough stress on that I, what I end up hearing is something that sounds like interviewing. So to a native speaker's ear, it might sound like view is receiving the primary stress, when in reality, none of the syllables is really receiving stress. They're all being produced at baseline. So this one is really tricky because if you say interviewing instead of interviewing, guess what? Everyone is still going to understand you. So it's not a problem in terms of intelligibility or being understood. But if you are looking to sound like a native speaker, this is something that you're going to have to address. But it's trickier because no one's going to point out to you, oh, what did you say? Or I didn't really understand that word you said, because they probably will understand it. So it's going to take a bit more time, some really good quality, slow listening to really perfect that. Now, I know that word stress may not be the most thrilling topic to work on, but if you are serious about mastering this component of American English, then I encourage you to check out the 10-part series I made called the 10-Day Word Stress Challenge, in which I really challenge your auditory perceptual skills, and I think you'll find it really helpful if your goal, again, is mastery of American English. So I'm going to link that for you guys above. All right, our third common mistake that I see all the time is that I hear a schwa sound, so the quality requirement is met, but very often the length requirement for schwa isn't being met in a lot of my clients, as in the schwa is being produced with too much length And schwa, we know, is really, really reduced, and it has to be really, really short. So if you're putting in a schwa sound, but it's not the right length, not only will the word sound a little bit unusual, it's totally gonna jam your fluency and your rhythm. So it is actually pretty important to work on. So for a quick example, let's look at the word agree, agree. So in that word, I'm saying schwa, up, and then gree. But what if I said the sound, but I held it a little bit too long? It would sound like this, agree, agree. Do you agree with me? So I'm sure you can hear right away that this doesn't sound natural. So really watch out for your schwas to make sure that you're not only making the correct sound, but that you're really holding it for just the right amount of time. So the fourth common mistake that I see is overdoing it on the sound, as in actually. So many of my clients come from languages in which there is no there's a really pure sound. So initially, I may hear someone, instead of actually, saying actually, or instead of apple, saying apple. So when I tell them to crank it up a bit, to use their muscles a bit more to make it sound more tense, I often hear my client swinging fully the other way and making it too tense and not natural and not convincing. So this is a really tricky part of learning a new accent in general, is to find that sweet spot, right? What do they call it? Like the Goldilocks, not too cold, not too hot, just right. So the same is true with our tense and lax vowels. Just because a vowel is tense doesn't mean it's insane tense. We don't say, I want an apple, because that sounds bizarre. It's not how native speakers say it. So that is going to come, that knowing that kind of Goldilocks perfect spot with practice and with auditory training and with kind of conscientious exposure to the sound and with practice. So don't be discouraged that it's difficult, but just know that it's not an all or nothing. There's a spectrum of tension, and you want to hit it just so that it sounds natural and convincing. And then our fifth common mistake that I see very often is a rolled R in a THR blend, even if I'm working with someone who under all other circumstances has mastered the American English R. So this would be in a word like three or Catherine. And the reason for this is because physically it is just tricky to say and then right after it. It requires really good control of all of our articulators. It requires good jaw stability. So for many individuals, I think it's more of a co-articulation problem. There might be some tiny subtle difficulty with some kind of oral motor component, and then it falls apart. It turns into a rolled R because that is physically easier to produce. So for this one, just keep in mind that when you're going from that TH position in which your tongue is up against your teeth, continuous air is coming out. From there, don't let your tongue slip into your mouth and then tap your alveolar ridge, because that's a rolled R. You need to keep controlling that tongue, but fully retract it in a really smooth manner. Like three or Catherine or whatever. But this one, for many of my clients, they're actually aware that they're making this mistake. This one is really more of a motor problem. So if you know that you do this, or if you suspect that you might do this, the best trick for this one is to sit down and practice physically saying it, and honestly, you're gonna have it in no time. So that's that, you guys. I do hope you found this video helpful. If so, please give it a like, please share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.